Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms. And happy Monday, the start of a new week. And it's starting off to be a little bit cloudy and gloomy. But I think the sun's supposed to burn through it here eventually, and it's going to shape up to be a pretty nice day. Right now, all the guys are in the greenhouses, picking and doing plant maintenance. So here in a couple of hours, we'll be finishing up with that. Then we're going to head down to the tomato patch in the field. And I think we're going to, if it's not too muddy, we're going to get tomato stakes pounded in today and run the first stringing using the Florida weave system. So not a whole lot going on today. We should be finished up with the employees by noon, and then I can work on some other things on my own this afternoon around the farm. But first of all, let's head down to the field and see if it's still muddy, because we did have some rain here yesterday or the day before, and if it's not dry enough, I'm not going to send the guys through there to work on the tomato stakes, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be solid today. Let's go check it out. Oh yeah, plenty solid. Still slightly muddy out, but definitely solid enough to drive the tractor down the row and throw the tomato stakes out. I've had some issues with my tomatoes this year. It almost looks like a sclerotinia. Wow, I have never seen that on baby tomatoes. Here's two in a row right here. Yeah, it's like they rotted right on the stem after they were planted. Very strange, but the rest of them look great. And this is what I don't want to see, is seeing them fall over. That's why it's time to get the tomato stakes up and get these things strung up. Overall, the tomatoes look pretty healthy. I'm starting to see some blossoms and small fruit forming. Watermelons are starting to vine out. In another week, they'll be off the plastic. Same with the cantaloupes over here. I'm seeing some cantaloupes vining out nicely, and they'll be growing off the plastic here in about a week as well. All right, let's go get the tomato stakes. Tomato stakes in tow. All right, I'm going to demonstrate how we put our 1x1 treated pine tomato stakes in the plastic for staking our field tomatoes. So here at the beginning of the row, we're not going to use a wooden stake. I'm going to get a steel T-post to put right there. And then we're going to skip 2 plants, which is 5 feet. And we're going to walk along and jam these down in the dirt just like that by hand. So here's our tomato stake wagon. Skip 2 plants, 5 feet apart. And just jam it in by hand temporarily. So we're going to drive the tractor and the tomato stake wagon down the drive trail and just scatter the tomato stakes down this aisle. We'll turn around at the other end, come back down this drive trail and scatter them in this aisle. And I'll have 3 kids walk down these 3 rows, hand placing the stakes in, and then we'll have 2 following up behind them using the post pounder to pound them in, 2 or 3, depending on if I can find my 3rd post pounder. Then after that, we'll have 3 guys go down and back with a box of string using the Florida weave system to string them up. I'll demonstrate all this once they get done working in the greenhouses and get out here in the field to help. Boy, that tire has seen better days. All right, I'm gonna leave all that in the field, and I'm gonna walk back up to the barns and greenhouses to get 6 steel T-posts and boxes of string and post pounders. All right, got our 6 steel T-posts, 2 post pounders, and 3 boxes of tomato twine. Ready to go down to the tomato field, but the guys and girls are still picking great tomatoes. It looks like we're gonna have a pretty good pick today. And I just noticed that we have a nice blue sky. All the fog and clouds have kind of burned off, and it's almost 80 degrees. It is gonna be absolutely gorgeous today. While I'm waiting for them to finish up great tomatoes, I decided to go down and spray flea beetles and potato beetles on the eggplant. I'm just gonna walk the row, or actually drive beside the row and hand spray it with this little 2-gallon sprayer. And then I'm going to drive all the rows that we planted about 2 weeks ago and look for dead plants and replant them with these leftovers. I have a flat of peppers, a flat of zucchini that look terrible, a flat of cucumbers, and a flat of cantaloupes. So anywhere that I find a plant that didn't survive, I will pull the dead plant out and stick one of the leftovers in the hole, and it should catch up and take off and grow just fine. These darn potato beetles wreak havoc on these eggplant. I think that's what that is. If that's not a potato beetle, please let me know down in the comments what that is. There's another one right there. They're not cucumber beetles. These are big fatties. And you can see how they're chewing up the leaves pretty good. All these little pinholes in the leaves are from flea beetles. And then you can see what the big beetles do, the big potato beetles. They're eating chunks of leaves and down in the whorl. They like to nibble on that area. So I'm just gonna walk this row real quick and spray them down with this permethrin. Die, potato beetles. Crops are looking pretty good. A lot more green out there today than there was last week. So now I'm just driving the roads looking for dead plants, and I just spotted one right here. We have a dead bell pepper right there. So I'm gonna grab me a pepper from the extras that were left over. Come over here to the dead one, pull it out, just toss it aside, and jam the new one right down in the same hole. Good to go. Gotta repeat that process up down all the drive trails until I get all the dead plants replanted with leftovers. Couple good hard hits, get them in the ground about 12 to 14 inches. Nice straight rows, beautiful. Might be the best I've ever seen. As soon as we get done finished pounding these in, we will string them up using the Florida weave system. This is the anchor post. Perfect. And just do that with all three, and now we can start running the strings, guys. So you're pulling this out with your right hand. Try it like that. Now grab it with your other hand. There you go, and hold it, and then it lets you have that slack. All right, I just demonstrated this to Trent. We want this string about 8 to 10 inches off the ground, a little beyond halfway up the plant, almost 2/3 of the way up the plant. So he has the bucket of string tied to his waist. Pulling out the string, wrap it around the stake, and off to the next stake. We don't want the string too low down here, then the plant will just fall over next week as it continues to grow. And if the string's way up here way too high, it won't even capture the plant, and the plant will just still fall over. Tomato stringing's coming along pretty good. Another half hour and we'll have her done, and it'll be lunchtime. Beautiful day to be out here working in the field. Bright blue sky and sunshine and comfortable temperatures. It's a little warm now. And these fellas doing the stringing are probably feeling the heat a little bit. A lot of bending over. But at least it's only a job we have to do about 4 times throughout the summer. So here's stringing number 1. We'll have stringing 2, 3, and 4, and that'll bring us to the top of the stakes, and that usually will hold the entire tomato plant up, because these determinate tomato plants will only grow about 3.5, maybe 4 feet tall. Looking good, guys. I think you got the hang of it. Stringing up tomatoes is one of those jobs that no one really enjoys doing, but like I said, it's only 4 times the entire growing season. So every other week we'll come out here and run another string. Shoot, maybe every 10 days we'll run the next string until we get our 4 strings up, and then stringing will be done, and by then it'll just about be harvest season for the tomatoes. All right, we're finishing up the final row here with the second stringing of the Florida weave system. And then we just rub it on the post a couple times, cut it. No scissors needed. All right, we're completely finished up with stringing. And you know, I had some new kids today. It went a little high here. Plants are just barely getting captured by the string. I told them to go about 7 to 9 inches. It's a little better down here, but this is what I like to see. The string directly across from each other, so it's horizontal with both plants between the strings. And in a couple weeks, these plants will fill this entire area up, and it'll be a solid wall of tomato plants. Some guys like to do this Florida weave system by actually doing like a figure 8, so these strings are crossed right here, and it kind of pinches these plants and holds them into place better. I don't feel it's necessary. In my opinion, after doing this for 25 years, there's no reason to waste your time with how much it slows you down trying to weave a figure 8 around these plants. Yes, they might slide back and forth a little bit in the wind, but by the second stringing, they will be locked into position and will not move anymore, especially when this becomes a solid wall of tomato plants. It's okay if they fall over. They don't really fall over, I mean, lean over a little bit. They'll continue to grow straight up and down. So don't waste your time stringing with the figure 8 system. Just straight down one row on one side and back on the other side. That's all that's needed. So just after a half hour of stringing, we got the job done, and these tomato plants are completely strong and ready to continue growing. All 675 plants complete, all before lunch. You know, I'm starting to get a little concerned about this field right here. You can see how huge these weeds are. They're over knee high. That's a giant ragweed that we call horseweed. And it is always bad right here. I haven't been able to get out here and disc because of all the rain we've had. The ground is actually still a little soft and sticky, but it's going to dry out fast with this weather we have today. It's going to be hot and sunny tomorrow as well. Wednesday, there's a chance of rain. I'm sure hoping that misses us, because I think by then I would be able to come out here and disc this. I have about 30 or 40 more rows of plastic to lay, which I wanted to do this week, and as of right now, I don't think it's going to happen unless this Wednesday rain misses us. This needs to dry out so I can sink that disc down about 5, 6, 7 inches and get it a nice deep disking, so I can lay those beds and get them shaped and formed nice and get the plastic buried properly. If we can't disc deep enough, that plastic's going to risk being blown up in a strong thunderstorm or high winds. So that is on the list this week. I sure hope that gets done. But right now it's lunchtime, and after that I'm going to head over to our fertilizer chemical dealer and pick up a spreader full of MAP and potash to spread on our final 25 acres. I always love looking at the crops when they start growing and turning green, and the field starts getting filled up with vegetable crops. Things are looking good out here. Now we just got to control the weeds. I will definitely be bringing the drone out here and giving you a good look at everything from overhead. Once everything grows a little bit more, maybe sometime next week, it'll really start looking pretty out here. And maybe by then the sweet corn will be tasseling too. Yeah, things are coming along. Season is progressing well. June 3rd. Wow, July will be here before you know it, and we'll be out here harvesting everything. Here at Bam Bauer Fertilizer and Seed to pick up a fertilizer spreader. All right, I got me a fertilizer spreader hooked up, and I'm gonna pull into this big building back here. We're getting 3,000 pounds of MAP and 3,000 pounds of potash. And we're gonna set it on 240 pounds per acre. I got about 25, 26 acres we're gonna spread. Bam Bauer's is a pretty big outfit. I don't know how many acres they service. I should ask Mitch sometime and find out. These are all the storage bays. I showed this in one of my other videos. MAP, AMS. Potash is the big one. Urea down there. And he's getting ready to fill me right now. Quite a load. I'd like to own one of those units. All right, I'm down here in the field ready to spread this fertilizer. Like I said earlier, I have a mixture of MAP and potash. MAP is 1152O and potash is 0060. So this always works pretty well on my vegetables. It's a pretty good mixture. And I'm spreading in this 6-acre field first before moving over to another 20-acre field. Both fields are half green beans, half sweet corn. Oh, probably 2/3 sweet corn, 1/3 green beans. And as you can see here in this field, there's some beans that have emerged and they are not looking very healthy. They're really yellow. There's one of two reasons they're really yellow. I didn't get my glyphosate down in time, and I started seeing the beans emerge. There was no leaves up, but the stem cotyledon was starting to pop out of the seed and break the soil surface, just barely. Not all of them, but just a few here and there. And I knew that if I didn't get the weeds killed, that I'd be battling them the entire season until this was ready to harvest. So I went ahead and sprayed it, and it looks like it possibly hurt them a little bit. I think they'll come out of it. Let's just set them back a little bit. The other reason is I spray Command and Dual for my pre-emergent herbicide on green beans, and the Command can make things turn white, kind of yellowish white. But I don't think that's what it is. They are more yellow than white. And what do you know, another noisy train. And over here I got another planting of green beans that I just put in a couple days ago. They're not sprouting yet. Up top is going to be sweet corn on the other side of the waterway. All right, let's get this fertilizer on. I'm ready to call it a day. I'm beat today. It just dawned on me that maybe I should show some details of the spreader. So this is the drive wheel, and this one's manually cranked down into place with this handle. A lot of times they're hydraulic driven, so you can start and stop the drive chain of the spreader with the hydraulics on the tractor. Or a lot of them will have a rope right here, like a pull rope, to set the wheel, the drive wheel down and pull it back. So here's the back of the spreader, the spinner that spreads the fertilizer, and here's our mixture of MAP and potash. And by cranking this gate right here up and down, you can set different poundages per acre. And we are set at 240 pounds per acre. Fertilizer spread is going pretty good, but I thought I'd give you a little look at the first planting of green beans. Getting ready to bud out. Looking really nice. I got some little patches of grass out here coming up in the beans, like right here too. I'm not gonna worry about spraying it because it's not gonna cause a problem with picking. I'm mainly concerned about broadleaves, and they look pretty clean. So these first 3 blocks are the first planting. Right here is the second planting from here to the tractor. They look nice and clean too. And the third planting It's a little slim here and there. The stand's not the greatest, especially down the hill there. It was a really wet, muddy spot when I was planting. And then we got torrential rains after I planted. Yeah, I guess they look pretty good. And then everything behind the green beans over the hill, and all this over here. And everything over by the trees is all sweet corn. Well, it was another productive day on the farm, and it's coming to a close because it is just about dinner time, and I am extremely exhausted. Even though the list of things to do is a mile long, and I feel like I'm never going to get caught up around here, sometimes you just got to know when to say when. Guys, I'm really excited about how the channel is finally gaining some traction and starting to take off. And I have a question I want to pose for you. What kind of content would you like to see me make about our farm in a future video? Throw me some suggestions down below in the comment section. I will definitely check those out. This is where we're going to wrap up today's video, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope to see y'all again real soon down on the farm.